Liverpool fan in Japan.
Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki man, Sai. Alrighty, I do believe that Liverpool will in fact make a January signing, and there's many signs to point to this. And I will substantiate this by saying that Arne Slot has positioned Liverpool in place to win all 4 trophies, a quadruple, right? We're not going to talk too soon here, but now that he's actually and factually put Liverpool on top of the table in the Premier League and in the Champions League and competitive in all cups, even though we're in a 1-0 deficit against Tottenham, half-time and food to come with a final insight as well. Come on, we're going to turn them over. Arne Slot has earned the right to say, and having analysed the players in the squad day in, day out, their training behaviours and reactions to certain trigger points as well, if he needs a particular position or player or set of attributes to really give Liverpool the best shot of making an era-defining first season, because let's face it, he's on the cusp of achieving something great here if he can turn around the recent form, the draws and loss, for example, then FSG in their right mind, not necessarily FSG directly, but Michael Edwards on behalf of the person who signs off the deals and having given the budget to Richard Hughes. Richard Hughes, in direct conversation with Arne Slot every day, would definitely back Slot, because think of it this way. If 25 million, 40 million pound now gives you that 5% extra chance to convert a trophy by the end of the season, of which we're halfway through the current season, then that 40 million now is worth a lot more than that 40 million will ever be worth in the summer transfer window, where everyone is dead level. We've already established our lead, established our form and our domineering performance and our capabilities here and now, leading the table. If Arne Slot has gone to Richard Hughes and said, I need this will help me to achieve my objectives and milestones and win trophies this season, it'd be really foolish not to do it. And they are business people, and they know that success, it creates wealth. Okay, so he will be backed if he identifies an attribute, a persona, a set of characteristics that will help him to achieve his goals in terms of a player for the squad this season. So 40 million to bring in the right resource and right player now is worth more than 100 million in the summer, because even if you spend 100 million in any given summer transfer window, you are not guaranteed to win anything. If someone wants to say to you, you're going to win the Premier League now if I give you 100 million pounds to spend on a player or two, or we make a 100 million pound signing Caicedo in the summer and everyone starts dead even on 0 points, and who knows whether that player will perform or not or get injured, of course the value, the math doesn't add up. You spend whatever Slot needs now to guarantee the best possible chance, because there's no entitlement here. It doesn't guarantee anything. They might even play worse than our existing squad, the new player coming in. But if Slot wants it, he will get what he wants. And that's what I'm trying to say. The rumours in the media, in the newspapers, online and on social media as well. And there's good precedence as well, because Liverpool do like a January transfer signing, right? Coutinho, speculative at Inter Milan. Wonder kid, wasn't getting the opportunities. We brought him in. The rest is history. Helped convert us into a quality team after his sale, of course, with Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker. D. Sturridge, Daniel Sturridge, Luis Suárez, maybe the most talented Liverpool player of all time. More recently, of course, we have looked at deals at Cody Gakpo. Man United put the legwork in, did the research, and we snipped in to buy him when we found the terms and conditions. Obviously, we want to know about Khvicha Kvaratskhelia as well at Napoli. He hasn't really lit it up this season under Antonio Conte, so he's not that absolute star that he was, but he's only 23 years old, and there's good precedence for why we might go for him as well. Milos Kerkez is obviously in the news. Omar Mamouche, heavily linked to Manchester City. I think they've got a verbal agreement there. We're going to look at many potential deals as well. But actually, what Liverpool like to do is allow the opposition to put in the legwork to negotiate with the parent club to find out not just a release clause, but a deal that would suit all parties, really. So do you remember Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, right? Chelsea wanted to sign the Ox from Arsenal. Arsenal were not willing to sell to Liverpool, but Chelsea promised the Ox a wing-back slot, right? In Conte's system, again, in place of Victor Moses. But in fact, Liverpool swooped in, promised him a midfield slot. He's a Liverpool fan. The rest is history. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain came to Liverpool. Additionally, when you look at the Khvicha Kvaratskhelia deal, PSG are putting a lot of legwork in. Actually, there's a verbal agreement, apparently, in the news today, that PSG have stolen the march by agreeing a 70 million euro fee deal with Napoli. Now, Napoli's president will not want to lose him in the same way as Victor Osimhen, who signed an increased bumper contract to keep his worth high, but didn't actually end up leaving Napoli because he just wouldn't agree to leave Napoli. So he was stuck with him at Napoli on inflated wages and not performing, and hence why he ended up at Galatasaray. He does not want a similar situation with Khvicha, with 2.5 years left on his deal, because I think it's 2027. His deal runs out. It's the opportune time to sell now or in the summer. Because his performance aren't lighting it up, he probably is at peak valuation right now. Now, Napoli want 90 million and PSG were offering 45 million euros thereabouts. They're probably going to compromise on that 65 million kind of area, right? And there's talks as well that Milan Skriniar, who used to be at Inter Milan, went over to PSG, might be involved in a loan deal to Napoli. But hang on a second. Liverpool have noted interest. Ornstein came out as well. So did Joyce to talk about Liverpool's supposed interest. Interest is only that, right? Intentions without actions is meaningless, as in life as well. I'll do a dedicated video on that on the Making Success Inevitable channel. A life kind of lessons channel as well. Join me on that if you want to support me on that. But literally, if Liverpool firm up their interest in Khvicha, there's a lot of interesting things at play here. Because Federico Chiesa, and I've said time and time again, Arne Slot isn't utilising him because he's been called time and time again as the right wing backup. Now, when Mo Salah is so fit and firing and a constant threat for around 90 minutes, probably a tired Mo Salah or 70% Mo Salah is probably still better than a Federico Chiesa, because Chiesa hasn't shown anything in his Liverpool career so far. He's going to need opportunities like today against Accrington Stanley in FA Cup to show what he's all about. We know he's got technical ability. We know he is a high caliber player, but he's had the bad ACL injury. Can he recapture his form? Arne Slot has done it the right way, being patient with him, not force him to line up, give him all the time to adjust to the demands of the Premier League, to adjust to the climate in England, the AXA Training Academy, to build a rapport and relationship with the teammates and players as well. He's done everything right by Federico Chiesa. We don't want another Arthur Melo situation where he's so desperate to impress and he ends up injured and out for the season and we waste our money. Literally, we have signed Chiesa permanently on a multi-year contract on high wages, 120k, so he should be expected to make an impact in the latter part of the season. I like how Arne Slot's held him back, but he's very truthful in the way that he's saying there's a lot of competition for places, my friend, especially on the right wing. So that's why he cannot break into the lineup. But we're going to see what he's made of in the latter stages of the Cup round and in Premier League cameos as well. You can also make the same argument for Harvey Elliott. Now, there's sporadic links to Harvey Elliott leaving, but Elliott loves Liverpool. Do you remember? He rejected Real Madrid because Real Madrid, Sergio Ramos, what they did to Mo Salah in Champions League final, dislocated elbow. Elliott loves Liverpool and he represents us well, but he's going to need a chance to impress. Slot really needs to allow him the space to increase his repertoire of playing experience, because of the fact that Szoboszlai plays in that advanced pressing 10, but Harvey Elliott is very good at 10 and naturally more inclined to get the assist or the goal because he's a very forward-thinking offensive player with a good touch who looks forward. It's just he doesn't have the same pressing metrics or athleticism as Szoboszlai and has yet to prove his match fitness. And Arne Slot is really, really big on playing players who continually prove their match fitness game on, game in, game out, except for the fact that hopefully we don't burn them out as well. We have less intense sprints than the other teams, but we do keep the intensity on the press. So hopefully Slot can find that balance, include Harvey Elliott, because I would not like to see him go at all. He has a lot to offer. But going back to Chiesa, if Chiesa and Arne Slot work out that it isn't quite the right fit and there's an opportunity there because Napoli, AC Milan and Juventus want Chiesa on loan, or even as a swap deal. Now, keep in mind that swap deals generally don't happen. They're usually separate deals that are intimated, give or take a little bit on the fees negotiation, because a swap deal itself is very, very hard to facilitate with the paperwork involved. And if one player says no or doesn't sign the dotted line at the last minute, the whole thing collapses. So you see, for example, the Eto'o and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Inter Milan to Barcelona trade-off, and it didn't really work because when Zlatan went there, Messi decided he wanted to play false nine, and Zlatan was out the window and Eto'o was lighting up in Serie A for Inter Milan under Jose Mourinho as well. And swap deals, generally like this Sancho thing and, Sterling, they couldn't quite work out the agreements. Therefore, Sterling eventually went to Arsenal and Sancho eventually went to Chelsea as well, right? The straight swaps never really work out. So remember, was it Pjanic, Miralem Pjanic, and was it Arthur that got exchanged in that one? Yeah. Saying that, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. If Liverpool firm up the interest, they have two bargaining chips here. Nunes has actually been linked to Napoli as well. Most likely it'll be Chiesa on loan, I would presume, to get his match fitness and see if he wants to adapt there as well. But Khvicha just really isn't that amazing talent that he was last season. mainly because for the fact that he's very much a head down merchant, and we have one of those already in Lucho Diaz. If you compare Lucho Diaz and Kvaratskhelia, Lucho Diaz is better. He's got a higher ceiling in terms of what he's achieved and what he could potentially achieve, but the difference is he's older. He's also older. Lucho Diaz is what, 26, 27? Kvaratskhelia is 23. Another thing that leans towards Kvaratskhelia being a good purchase is the fact that apparently he's got a good attitude and he's very good friends with Mamardashvili. Georgi Mamardashvili, who he signed, a fellow Georgian youth youngster, played in the same academy, by the way, went through the ranks together. They're very, very close. By all accounts, they are very, very good friends and play for the national team. It'd be great to have that national bond in them, but obviously take up a non-EU spot as well, coming from Georgia. So unless Georgia actually do join the EU, in which case it's been postponed, I think, to 2030, he does take up one of those slots as well. But I think we're okay for homegrown and EU slots at the moment, so there's no issue there. And going back to the January transfer window, Cody Gakpo, right, when Man United did all the legwork, what a signing he's turned out to be. But he has to show a bit of patience because coming in January transfer window means you don't have a preseason. You dropped in the lineup expected to tactically align with Klopp and Slot's expectations. And as you saw, Klopp slightly mismanaged him by putting him in that left-sided 8 position, which is definitely not his position, and then as a striking 9. Now, he did score, to be fair to him, twice quality goals against Man United, but never was the right fit. And even he said himself, by all accounts, he lost confidence, right? But luckily, Slot, his fellow countryman, has slotted him back onto the left-hand side. So January is a tricky transfer window in terms of getting the player up to speed to make a tangible contribution for this season. We signed Luis Diaz, who agreed terms with Tottenham, had a verbal agreement there, and was moments away from jetting off to sign a contract because we targeted Lucho Diaz for such a long time from Porto. His attributes were needed by Jurgen Klopp's team at the time, and Liverpool pounced, and obviously Liverpool is much more attractive than Tottenham. We beat them to the jump, and Daniel Levy wrote an angry-fisted letter, fisting that letter to John W. Henry, who was like, what they smoking there over at the Spuds. So yeah, I love that, how that turned out. So going back to the January transfer window, now I have a team, right? So I'm a technical lead, very, very techie. I have some subordinates who do data analytical work, data science on the side as well, and predictive analytics and generative analytics. I might get hands dirty myself. If I've got the time, I will build Liverpool's entire transfer database for the players that they should be targeting and show you the metrics and the reasonings and the process, how you bring it through the process to get through to an eventual offer to the parent club, offer to the player and agent, and how they come in as well. If you guys want to see it, let me know in the comments below. Now, this might take me a few days because it ain't easy whipping up a whole database of process on top of that with the interface and UX as well. But if you really like it, I'm so techie and nerdy, I'll do it for you. I'm that mad crazy scientist. I will replicate Liverpool's entire transfer repertoire, their transfer database and process chain as well for you guys, because this is a channel with substance in abundance.
The cream of the crop!
That is really the biggest abundance of substance you could ever get if I was to replicate that and show you and walk it through. It'd probably be an hour-long video. But if you want to see that, let me know in the comments below, and that will show you, with an algorithm, with logic, with human-based perception as well, the players that Liverpool realistically should go for in this window, one of which, if I name 5, I think we will sign. Big words. Let me know in the comments below if you like that. If we get like, let's say 50 confirming that you want to do it, I'll do it because it's a bit time consuming. Anyway, back on topic. I digress just a little bit. Kvaratskhelia, I can't really see the big push because PSG will offer huge wages, even though Ligue 1 isn't as competitive as the Premier League, isn't as lucrative, and the contract offer may not even be as much as Liverpool willing to offer, because by all accounts he's underpaid at the moment in Italy, and you'd expect him to get 150k easy at Liverpool. Literally, he plays predominantly left wing, and I did say he's a head down merchant. His assist factor isn't great. His early ball playing isn't great. He is a pseudo Luis Diaz, except from the fact that he can play and shoot off both feet quite well, and he has the capability of going around the outside really, really well. But he does like a Trivela right-footed pass instead of cutting in on the left-hand side. He does like to jink in and cut inside and play from there. He does occupy the central 10 positions, coming in from out wide as well. And we have that time and time again with Cody Gakpo, with Luis Diaz. Nunes does that when he plays on the left. Jota does that when he plays on the left. He's not a traditional out-and-out left winger. He's an inside forward again. His dribbling is off the scale. His shots are pretty good. Not the most powerful, but great trajectory, great curve, great technique, great attitude. Fellow Georgian with Georgi Mamardashvili. Why not Liverpool? Do it. John W. Henry, whip out that cash and do it. But ultimately, it's not up to John W. Henry and FSG. It is Michael Edwards, because Michael Edwards is head of football, and he will be the one signing off the deals that Richard Hughes proposes to him. Now, I've heard many a retort to say that Arne Slot is a head coach. He's not a manager. He doesn't get involved in transfer dealings. He doesn't get a say. Well, it's not completely wrong, but there is no way with this infrastructure in place that Richard Hughes and the scouting department and the scouting team and the transfer committee, if it's still known as that, Brendan Rodgers didn't like no transfer committee, right? Iago Aspas, Luis Alberto, both ended up quality players. Should have utilised them more. We did have a good front line. SAS, Sturridge, Suárez, and Sterling in the backup, right? Anyway, digressing just again. B. Rog came close to winning league. The transfer committee and Richard Hughes probably will converse with Arne Slot. Which are the problem areas? Which are the areas you want to back up for? Do you want a left-sided centre back? Do you want a left back? Do you want a defensive midfielder? Do you want a striker? But not really the positions. More like the player who can facilitate a particular function. Like Arne Slot would probably go, I need someone who can play in the 6 and 8, who's progressive with the ball and able to carry the ball literally to invite the press. Another Gravenberch. But then again, he might want a different set of attributes, a tempo maestro, a controller at the base who's of a high ceiling like the Zubimendi from before. If we're after him before, I don't see why we wouldn't be after the same kind of profile now. I did say Maxence Kakare, but it looks like he is linked to Como, right? Como, Fabregas's team, and they're building quite the squad there at Como as well. So yeah, fair play to him. See how he performs. Like, he's dropped in confidence at Lyon, but he's still a quality technical player. He would do good things, but he needs his confidence back. So ultimately, Slot will give the player profile and attributes he wants. Hughes and the transfer committee and team will find the appropriate players to match the description, whittle them down to those that are really worth considering and that are attainable, and bring them to Arne Slot to say, yay or nay, I would be willing to have that player in my team, or point to a preference. Now, the difference between Arne Slot and an Arteta and a Klopp would be an Arteta and a Klopp would say, I like that player. I want a Gabriel Jesus. I want a Kai Havertz. I want a Leandro Trossard. I want a Kylo Mudryk. And we'll end up with a Leandro Trossard second on the list, for example. They will pinpoint players and the transfer committee will go and actively target them. Whereas here, I believe Richard Hughes, transfer committee, Michael Edwards maybe, will talk with Arne Slot about potential problem positions or positions to strengthen. And then on the basis of the profile of the player that they want to obtain, Hughes and the transfer committee will scout world football with the databases and on the human perception and come back with a list, whittle it down and present the options to the board to Arne Slot. And Arne Slot will emphatically say, no, I don't want that guy. Not because he's not good. I don't like the look of his jibe. He don't cut no turkey, free fiddy. No, I digress just a little bit. But he was saying, I prefer this guy or that guy. Please go for him first. If not, he would be okay if the others aren't available. And you go from there. So that is the extent of Arne Slot's transfer input, I would say. And Richard Hughes will go off and negotiate a deal. And Richard Hughes is very, very good at negotiating a deal. But all in all, I think Kvaratskhelia, we don't really have place for him in the forward line unless Chiesa goes out. But then again, Chiesa is the backup right winger. So it doesn't make sense unless Lucho Diaz is your pseudo right winger, except for the fact that Lucho Diaz is up front as a 9. Now, unless long-term Slot considers Lucho Diaz a 9 and Kvaratskhelia will be challenging Gakpo on the left, which is a nice look, by the way. It's a nice look. I like that look. But it's 70 million for a position we don't really need 70 million euros, 65 million pounds, thereabouts. The alternative is putting the full budget for the player that you really, really want in the summer if they're not obtainable now. Now, Milos Kerkic has been in the news, and let's do a full transfer deep dive on the left-back position. Milos Kerkic, Aït-Nouri, Anthony Robinson, Alphonso Davies, whoever you want to talk about, we can talk about them as well. In fact, I was going to mention this. Live Q&A tomorrow, right? In lieu of, can I do the Accrington Stanley match? It is an early kickoff, but I don't know if it's on TV here, so I don't know if I can do a live watch along. I'll check it out if it's on Next or not. But the live Q&A, I want to write a quick, to-the-point, snappy summary every week. Now, I was thinking of doing a video, but I think a summary in an email is better for the fact that I could literally whittle down every transfer link to Liverpool in that given week. We could do it on a Sunday or Monday. And I can just ping you a quick, incisive, snappy email. Why? Worth noting, Aït-Nouri. Worth noting, Kerkers. Fellow Hungarian, Soboslai in here as well. Richard Hughes actually bought Milos Kerkic, done the scouting, done the due diligence and the foundational work to bring him to the club in the first place. And obviously he'll know all about him and his potential. And obviously Soboslai can give good intake as well. I can give you both the latest transfer and news roundup rumors in a quick email summary, as well as potential videos that I'd be planning to make in that week or the week after. And you guys can give me feedback whether you'd really like to watch that video or you think you know, that video topic is really, really interesting. And that way it's direct feedback to me that I know that video is worthwhile making. It'll actually be viewed and it'll actually be appreciated, because that way, that's how we literally grow the channel, right? I make quality content on the content that you tell me that you want to watch. Now, the members have done a cracking job in letting me know the kind of content, the kind of format that they want. But I want to open it up because everyone potentially has great insight. I'm a keen listener and I'd love to listen to you guys and your feedback. I could even list all the video ideas in this email newsletter drop. And then you guys can tell me what videos you'd be really keen to see. I can aggregate the numbers, and on the topics of choice, I can maybe cover it in a single video, or I can cover something in a deep dive if it's particularly worth talking about. I saw Star Talk. I love my planets and stars and astronomy, by the way. Neil deGrasse Tyson, right, does that. Yes, so that's an idea I got. If you guys think it's a good idea, let me know in the comments below. And also who will join me for the live Q&A. 1 p.m. UK time, Sunday, tomorrow, which will be 10 p.m. for me. Looking forward to chatting with you guys. And you know what? I will do it in the live drop-in format, so you guys can sign in via Google Meet or whatever. I can't remember the system. I use Riverside, by the way. And you can talk to me like TalkSport. You could drop in with your webcam on or just a mic if you want and ask me the question up front. I can give you your dedicated 2 to 5 minute slot. We can chat on air. I think a few of you in the last live chat mentioned that you'd love to join and drop in and chat with the Miyazaki Man Sai, Liverpool fan in Japan. See if I can get Mai or Ato or me a little bit under the weather, but see if I can get someone to drop in as well. Yeah, so if you'd like that format instead of the usual just text-based Q&A, if you actually want to call in and form a little orderly queue, then I'll try to set that up and facilitate that and see if it works. But back to transfer targets, right? So Kvaratskhelia, unless the long-term plan, or unless Nunes goes to Napoli as part of the deal, and it'll be a separate deal, as I mentioned, if Lucho Diaz is considered with Jota, the number 9, alongside Nunes as well, then there is room for Kvaratskhelia. But then we're really, really overloaded for the fact that there's only so many places you can put on a matchday squad. So someone, an attacker, has to drop out, right? And my goodness, you would not be happy to leave an Elliott or a Chiesa out in that lineup, because the rest of them are probably fixtures. And Jadon Dan's will never get an opportunity on the bench in that regard. So really think carefully what you want before you splash your cash and spend your budget. The alternative is a midfield controller, but the difficulty is, you see in the absence of Rodri, the difference that a quality 6, a quality midfield controller does for your team. A tempo maestro, a destroyer, a progressive line breaker who can run as well. Ederson at Atalanta, they're doing good things, and they're in the Champions League. He won't go for cheap. You're talking 80, 90 million to prize him, whereas it'd be 60 million in the summer. Alternatively, the 6th market is a bit barren and bare, but Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa over to Juve. He's Premier League proven as well, and clubs are looking at him. I said before he moved to Juve, I thought he'd be a quality option. Him and Endo would offer differing attributes, but he's Premier League proven, quality, and all-round and well-rounded as well. There's a lot of shouts for Balaba at Brighton. He's box to box. He's not a 6, by the way, so he'd come in an 8 role, but he'd be a really, really good sign. But you won't prize him at Brighton mid-season. It's absolute nil point, 0 chance, 0%, which is Japanese. So you have to be realistic. You have to spend your budget in the right place. And if you sign Kvaratskhelia, then you're looking at reduced transfer budget and wages for your mythical left-footed, left-sided centre-back, your defensive 6, and possibly your long-term left-back as well. Now, be careful what you ask for if you want a left-back with Robertson and Tsimikas, because of the fact that unlike Gomez, who's multifaceted and versatile and can play all across the back line, Tsimikas and Robertson are out-and-out left-backs, as is Owen Beck and a few down the line as well. Scanlon, for example. You sign a Milos Kerkez, he's a left-back. One of your left-back misses out on a matchday squad. And whether by hook or by crook, and you like it or not, tough cookies, Robertson is an established first-team player who may be slightly out of form and aging. Tsimikas is an established first-team player with the best left foot in the squad, best technical player, and trusted by Slot to start big games as well. You've got two first-choice first-team left-backs. Unless one of them goes, there isn't a room for a left-back. The only way a left-back comes in is if they've identified the perfect left-back, unless, for this example, say Milos Kerkez, and he's on the verge of leaving somewhere else. You can't wait till the summer. You have to bring forward that deal now. And it's tough cookies for the rotation and whether he even actually plays and contributes or gets up to speed in time, because he has to get in sync with the offside line, the tactical transitions, whether he pivots into the 6th position, pivots into the wing back or the half space or left midfield, and on the overlap and underlap, what he needs to do as well. So hard to see. But I did mention, I do think we will sign one player this window. And hold your horses. I don't want to leave you on a cliffhanger. But look, if you guys want me to do the big big metric machine transfer algorithm with a proper UX and interface with related lists and all the things that encompass a proper data analyst, sports scientist job, then I will whip that up for you and I'll let you know which signing I think, or at least which position I think we will sign and what kind of profile we will sign in that video. So looking forward to your response. Let's smash Accrington Stanley. I think a lot of the, not fringe, but secondary players will play. Keller will play. Kwanzaa, if he's recovered, and he should have recovered by now because he was good enough to start last game, will play. Bradley should play as well. Endo-san, whether it's defensive midfield or centre back, either way, he's going to play. Now, I heard Tyler Morton had an injury setback. Oh, again, unfortunate in training. Harvey Elliott will definitely play. I want Chiesa. I think Chiesa will start as well. Jaden Danz is an outside shot. Nunes needs to get his goal confidence and goal scoring boots on as well, which leaves one for the left wing slot. Diogo Jota, the slotter, needs match fitness. Lucho Diaz and Gakpo being run to the ground. Can't imagine it. I think Salah, Gravenberch, McAllister, Diaz and Gakpo and Alisson will play no part of this game at all. So there you go. Really hope we get back on form, get our mojo back. Thank you everyone for supporting the channel. You've been super, super kind. Mary Beth, thank you so much at $25. Seriously made my day. I was shocked and astonished. Your kindness is overwhelming. Roman, my man, your kindness is overwhelming as well. The highest donator to date for sure. Everyone who is a Liverpool fan in Japan member, どうもありがとうございます。本当に嬉しい。幸せ、心、大好きよ。Heart, love, power, health to all you guys in 2025. Let's make it a good year. This is a channel of substance abundance, and you guys are the best. Ichiban, the community. Members video coming up in terms of what you can get for joining the Liverpool Fan in Japan membership is the best way to help the channel. But before we do, I love my kit. So whip out the Liverpool Live Bird green turquoise, my favorite color bag right here. Dennis Man, the lovely adornment for your darling daughter has arrived. So I'll send it out to you in the goodie pack alongside your Christmas card as well. So I'm going to open a piece of kit, see what we got. It's turquoise. No, it's not. It's kind of like meadow green. I hope this is not a kit I already have. I'm a little bit silly in the way that if it's a really nice kit and I really got a bargain on Mercalli Japan, of which you can sign up to Zen Market in the description link to get any Liverpool kits in Japan, because the second-hand market in Japan is fabulous. You're going to find vintage kit and retro stuff. And oh my god, even better than that, I do have this kit, I think, but it's not mine. It's for Mushroom Boy. Look at the size of that. Look at the size of that thing. It's for Mushroom Boy Ato. He can wear that right now. Bada bing, bada boom. Coolest kid in the room. I'm gonna chuck him in that kit as soon as possible and throw it in the latest video. That's adorable. Look at that. So fresh and so clean. Amazing. Carlsberg. How old must this kit be? Well worn by a kid. Give it some good washing. And that's for Ato Mushroom Boy. As I mentioned, the best way to support the channel, and by supporting the channel, I can buy those kits for the little ones as they're growing up, because Ato and Mia love their sporting kits. Massively energetic, run around the house all day long. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Here's what members get. The best way to support the channel is through YouTube membership. Becoming a member will give you exclusive access to my tactical masterclass videos, as well as translations and analysis on Endo's book Duel, his vlogs, and my uncensored thoughts on other content creators. Each new member brings me closer to buying new Liverpool kits for Mushroom Boy Ato and Triple Me Mia as they grow up. The Wonder Kid tier gives you priority reply to your comments, as I will see the Endo emoji next to your name, as well as invites to live meet and greets in the future, member-only polls for video ideas, and custom emojis in chat for just under £3, cheaper than a Mackie D's triple cheese brunch, and more fulfilling too. In the LFIJ All-Stars tier, you get early access to videos, member shoutouts in videos, Japanese snacks, and a custom commissioned Christmas card with my handwritten personal message to you for under £9. And in the Emperor Endo tier, me love you long time. Jump on for a 15-minute chat whenever suits every month, and let's collab on Liverpool. Up the Reds. All members get exclusive access to the LFIJ lounge on Discord for that juicy and spicy banter in private, an exclusive member number and nickname that will go on your commission goodie, yours to keep forever. So what are you waiting for? Join the membership and be part of the best community worldwide.